Hey, we're gonna jump into something I call the Hoosier 10. I'm gonna ask you 10 questions that only Hoosiers could know. So you answer them to the best of your ability. What dorm or apartment did you stay on campus?
Well, I didn't ever
Freshman year.
stay in the
Sorry.
I didn't stay in the dorm.
What?
That
Freshman
was
year, you ain't staying in the dorm?
it was the first year that they ever let freshmen not have to stay in dorms.
Uh,
And so I got quite the education because I was roommates with Tom Geyer and Rob Turner, Dutch Mufazia
mm,
himself.
Dutch buffet.
So there's quite a few stories came from
Oh,
us three living
oh,
together.
I can
But
imagine.
I think it's changed now, the name of it, but it was the one, was it Village Apartments? It was the one right across from Memorial Stadium.
Oh,
There
okay.
was,
The
I
villas.
think it was the Villas. Yeah,
Uh,
it was either Villas or the Village Apartments,
okay.
and so I stayed there. It was an easy walk to the bus, but it led to some interesting times living with those two.
What was your favorite restaurant to eat in during your playing days?
I would say McCree's was my favorite.
Mhm.
Quickly behind it was Buffalo's.
Okay.
Both of them were way up there. McCree's, which sadly is not there anymore.
Mhm.
I really love that. I remember they used to have a thing where if you went in and you asked for the worst seat in the house, you could get a free appetizer or something, and then
Really?
it kind of worked. It was like a little secret thing, but then it spread so fast they stopped doing it. But I was a big McCree's fan.
Awesome. When the last time you've been to Bloomington?
Uh, went back for when Coach Knight came back. I think that was
Okay.
the last time when we were there for that. I've probably been to about 4 or 5 games in the last 3 or 4 years. When I was
Mhm.
still coaching, I would take my seniors up for a game.
Oh, okay.
So I actually starting in about 2011, I was going probably once or twice a year. So I've probably been up there a little bit more than that. So probably about 10 times in the last
Okay.
5 or 6 years.
Playing in the Big Ten, you kind of mentioned this earlier. What player gave you the toughest time individually?
Man, I would say Zach Randolph.
Hmm.
He was. I know he wasn't known for being just an incredible defender or anything, but you're talking about somebody that was incredibly strong and
Right.
just, I mean, 10 times faster than what people really expect and quick. I mean, just very smart player too. Just,
Definitely.
I mean, he was always tough to play against. I'd say that Randolph would be up there.
Definitely. Thinking back, what was your toughest place to get a win?
Oh, the, in the big, well, I'm gonna give you two answers. Anytime that we played at Freedom Hall against Kentucky, that was always kind of a
Right. It
weird
was.
atmosphere.
It
I know it's
was.
not Big Ten, but that place
Yeah.
always was just had a weird feel to it. Actually, I would say I, it always seems like Illinois for some reason, and I know
Yeah.
that Illinois was really. I mean, they were really tough there. Michigan State, of course, was tough, but I just thought as far as combination of team and atmosphere, I never did feel comfortable for some reason playing at Illinois. It was a
Right. It
tough
was different.
environment to be comfortable in to me.
All that orange, man. All that orange. Purdue player you dislike playing against the most.
Brian Cardinal.
I knew that was coming. Why is that, man?
I don't know. By the way, did you not think that him? I may say his name wrong. Was it Jax? Do you remember Jax?
Yep,
Jacob
Jacob
Jack
Jakes.
Jakes. I always
Yep.
say Jax. Yeah. I don't know how, but it seemed like that was Cardinal's son. I know that the timeline doesn't
Right.
match up, but man, those it's just the most like just get under your skin, just
Yeah.
as a plays over, elbow to the chin.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of that passive aggressive
Right.
cheap shots that just you absorb like 10 of them and then you finally deliver one back and it looks like you're overreacting and you're the one
Yeah.
that gets the foul and
Exactly.
technical. They are so good at that, man. It's so
Yeah.
annoying, and it's. I mean, I know it was smart of how they played, but I hated it.
I know it's a lot to pick from because you played at a time where it was really, really physical with the Big Ten. So it's a lot of play. You could pick some from practice. What was your most memorable Coach Knight moment? Your most memorable.
Oh me, um, I think, and I think the one where uh, he kicked a player off the team at one point. He ended up bringing him back, but I remember the setup, and I got there to practice one day, and one of the seniors' lockers was completely cleaned out, and all it was in there was 2 items. There was 2 items left that were out of place, and we all didn't know what was going on. The nameplate was gone, all of his gear was gone. We're mid-season, and we go out and we're warming up for practice, and this senior comes out and he's got these 2 items in his hands like this. And he yells down at Coach Knight on the other end. He's like, Coach, what's this about? And like the gym just went quiet. I mean, it was just like, and Coach, and everybody kind of spins their head around and looks at Coach Knight. It was like out of a movie, like a Wild West,
Right.
So Coach Knight just slowly starts walking towards him. And, and the senior, he still got his street clothes on because he didn't have any gear to put on. And like Coach Knight's walking slowly towards him. I swear, like a tumbleweed went across half court. It's
right.
Like
yes.
And so I'm on that end of the court, close enough that I can hear what's going on. And Coach Knight gets down to him, and he's the player's got a sleeve of tennis balls in one hand and a tennis racket in the other. And Coach Knight looked at him, and he looked at the tennis balls and the tennis racket, and he said, "Son, the way you've been playing defense here lately, it's obvious you're not committed to playing a team sport. So I thought you'd be better off taking up an individual one." And he kicked him out. And I was like, "Oh, that was a great setup." And man, it delivered in the final episode. That was,
right.
Wow. And so, it was a couple days until he let him come back, but I just appreciated the thought, the effort, and the delivery. Yeah. And a lot of people didn't realize, yes, Coach Knight can be blunt and just over the head with something. But a lot of times he was able to get points across in some ways that you just that were surprising, but landed an impact, and that was one of them with me.
Awesome, man! Awesome story. If you had to put together your own personal 4-player IU basketball Mount Rushmore, who would you put on that list?
Oh man, I would go. And I'm gonna forget somebody, and you're gonna say their name. I'm gonna be like, yeah, of course. Off the top of my head, I've just the first 3 that come to my mind anytime I think about something like this is Isaiah, Henderson, and Chaney. And I just can't. That's just kind of my wheelhouse of like guys that I saw a lot of and knew a lot of. And I know I'm. If you go back a little bit further, I'm not as well versed in it, but I'd say I might have to go Kent Benson.
Okay.
I just don't know. That's the first 3 come to mind always with those, and I would put those 3 up. I'd feel pretty good with my starting 5 if those 3 are on it, no matter who my other 2 are.
Hey, everybody's has been different. There's no right or wrong answer, so it's just a matter of who pops in your head first. That's what I tell people. So, who was your favorite IU player of all time?
I'm going to say
past or present. It don't matter.
Yeah,
that you enjoy watching, that you just enjoy.
Somebody that I just thoroughly enjoyed watching, and I'm just going to go with the first one that popped in my head. I loved watching Yogi play. It was a long time. Like when you're a kid, you can you watch it, you can kind of get be a fan of somebody. It's a little bit different when you're older and the guys you're watching you're older than, but I would say Yogi was one of the first players I'd watched in a while where it was just like you could just kind of see the enthusiasm and the joy, and I don't know. I just thoroughly enjoyed watching Yogi play when he was one that one of the first ones that after I got through playing that really did have me wanting to tune in to watch.
Right. Awesome. And what past or present player defines IU basketball? So this player is, you think Indiana basketball when you think about this player?
I think it's got to be, to me, Damon Bailey.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
just
Right.
the I mean, going back to like the Sports Illustrated, and you just kind of have these little snapshots of what you kind of, as growing up, what you kind of envision Indiana basketball looking like. And for lack of a better term, you kind of and this is, I mean, I'm not saying anything, but you just thought like short shorts,
Yeah.
and tough nose, and I
Right.
don't know. It was just something about. So I guess that would be, if there was a kind of a poster that you were going to create, I think that he would have to be on it.
Right.
If you were going to do the Indiana Hoosier basketball poster.